class people of all stripes keep their families fed, a roof over their head, and able to access health care and the support services they need when they need them. And accountability will come. It'll come at the ballot box. Fortunately for them, it will be just and fair. Because not only do we believe in empathy, we believe and demand due process of law for all people.
We demand due process. I've been given an announcement just to let you know. Wow, there's a lot of noise around here. There's an art project going on at the Fine Arts Gallery in Peterborough that I think you should all check out on 8 Grove Street. It is the I Am an Immigrant project, and you are encouraged to bring photos of, if you're an immigrant, you, but also your immigrant ancestors. Our next speaker today is one I am very much looking forward to. I've known them for, well, over a year at this point, because they've been on the road with their mom, Karen Leo Hill, but I've been very impressed with Zoe. So, Zoe Hill, why don't you come up and let's hear what you have to say.
I'm a little bit taller than everyone else. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Just a few days ago was May 1st, or May Day, a day which commemorates the struggles of the labor movement, and it got me thinking about the grape strike and boycott of 1965 to 1970. In 1965, Filipino farm workers in Delano, California, went on strike against grape growers, protesting years of terrible pay and conditions. 8 days later, the mostly Latino union, the National Farm Workers Association, led by Cesar Chavez, joined in the strike because they knew they had to stick together to prevent the growers from breaking up their strike. Inspired by previous boycotts, especially the Montgomery bus boycott, which had just happened 10 years prior, the now merged United Farm Workers Union called for a boycott of table grapes. This boycott gained mass support in many civil rights organizations, with the NAACP sending out flyers encouraging people to stop buying California grapes and to tell their grocers not to stock them. The boycott connected people across the nation and across class lines because they could help the workers just by simply not buying grapes. After 5 years, the boycott was a major success and led to the first union contract with the table grape growers. This is a story of solidarity, from the Latino farm workers joining the Filipino farm workers to the NAACP helping advocate for the boycott. People came together across racial and class lines to fight for workers' rights. The civil rights movement of the 60s and 70s would not have been nearly as successful if people did not work together. The Latino civil rights movement's Brown Berets were inspired and worked with the Black Panthers. The feminist movement would not have been the same without foundational writing from Black lesbians. And the Stonewall riots were led by Black trans women. While the civil rights organizations did not always agree on how to go about things, they knew they had to work together to be successful, because civil rights are like dominoes. Once one falls, the rest are soon to follow. We must keep this in our minds as we continue fighting today. We must stop the rhetoric that Democrats' support of trans people lost the election. When we are fighting for all of us, so pick your lane. Whether it be immigration, or free speech, or education, or the environment, or trans rights, just know that we must be ready to fight for everyone else, because when one of us falls, all of us do. But when we stand together, we can succeed. Thank you.
When we stand together, we can succeed. Ted Benson out here? All right, Ted Benson's up next.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know about our company, the company is called Bensonwood. We were founded in 1972. Our original facilities are in Alstead, New Hampshire on Pratt Road. We moved eventually to Walpole, where our offices are and some of our production facilities. And a few years ago, we also established a really significant factory here in Keene on Production Avenue. So today I'm going to read a letter that I wrote to all of the people on 15,000 on our mailing list. And the letter came with the subject line, "Taking a Stand." As you can imagine, the list on our mailing list includes clients, current and future suppliers, partners, ambassadors, friends, and as it turns out, a few people who are none of these now. But before I read the letter, I also want to say we're a wonderful company of 140 fellow associates. Every one of them has their own beliefs, their own values, and their own ideas. We work together seamlessly, but we are defined more by diversity than by uniformity. So I am speaking today, and I wrote this letter personally from me as the founder. These words are mine, and they are not a reflection of any of our company associates. So the letter starts out, "Dear friends, at Bensonwood, we've always believed our responsibility goes beyond building better homes. We strive to uphold high social values and contribute to a better future for our associates, our clients, our partners, and our communities. That means advocating for equity, sustainability, and the institutions that make our work meaningful and impactful. Today, we face a historic challenge, not just economic, but political and moral. It's not a financial crash like we experienced in 2008, but a crisis of corrupt governance, unjust policies, humanitarian cruelty, and environmental sabotage. And once again, the ground is shifting beneath us. As a founder and steward of our company and our values and our mission, I cannot be silent. The actions of the current administration go far beyond disagreements of policy. They are dismantling our democratic institutions, undermining the rule of law, and destabilizing global cooperation. The erratic tariff policies based on crude and illogic have shaken trade relations, harmed U.S. businesses, inflated costs, and turned our allies into enemies. Even more alarming is the aggressive dismantling of our environmental protections. Federal support for clean energy and innovation is being stripped away even before these actions become normalized. Projects critical to our energy future are being sabotaged, and before their benefits are being realized. The climate crisis is real. Scientists warn that the planet could warm by 3 degrees Celsius, a path to economic disruption and humanitarian disaster. The effects already felt in rising insurance costs, vulnerable supply chains, pervasive economic risk, and human suffering. The broader crisis includes the assault on human dignity, inclusion and empathy. Values that should transcend politics are being eroded. At Bensonwood, we will not compromise our commitment to a welcoming, respectful, and empowering workplace. These values are not political. They are foundational to any future worth building. In response to the uncertainty and the threats facing our society and our industry and our company, we are taking clear and determined steps to uphold our standards of behavior and action. We remain confident in our company culture and our collective strengths and in our ability to keep doing what's right. So, we are redoubling our efforts in 5 key categories, and I'll mention only a couple. The first one is about partnerships, our partnerships locally and around the world. The second one is about global outreach, which has been the strength of our company. Innovation does not know borders. The third one is about our community building, about this, about you, about us. We will deepen our investment in our local communities, partnering with businesses, nonprofits, and civic organizations to strengthen food security, housing, safety, education, wellness, and the arts. A thriving community, you guys, sustains our workforce and secures our collective future. The fourth one is about education. As the education support is waning, we are redoubling to committing to it within our company. The last one is the one I want to emphasize, number 5, support for our associates. We are a proud, working class company in the noble profession of building. Our associates are the heart of Bensonwood, and their well-being is our priority. We will continue to provide the resources, opportunities, and benefits to help them succeed. Our commitment to normalizing high-performance housing is about more than building. It's about improving lives, inside and outside our company. By leaning into these actions, we're affirming that our values matter. Our mission remains intact. Our culture is our strength. And in the face of this adversity, we will lead with conviction, stay rooted in our principles, and help build the future worthy of our efforts. And I sign that in my name on behalf of the company. But I want to add a little addendum for today, for you, for now. And I'll be a little more explicit and a little stronger. I have no interest in building homes if the people who inhabit them must live in an unfree country, a country with a stifling, wealth-hoarding oligarchy, led by cruel, crude, amoral, and criminal authoritarianism. That's not the world we want to live in. And we don't have to wonder if it could happen here. It is happening here. And everything about what this country was founded for, what hundreds of thousands of patriots died for, now depends on us to stop it. We, the people, we must and we will. This low road that we have been taken on is not us. It is not who we are. My commitment here is for the very reason of our company, which is to provide places for lives to thrive. But at this point, my main reason to be in this fight with you is for my children and my grandchildren, and for theirs beyond and beyond. This is a struggle for what is right, and one for the ages. Our collective Plan A, is this: to persevere and prevail, and therefore restore our pursuit of freedom, equality, justice, democracy, and the primacy of compassion. That's plan A. And there is no plan B. Right? We are headed back to the high road. No plan B.
There is no plan B. Thank you, Ted Benson, CEO of Bensonwood. Our area is very fortunate to have a company like Bensonwood that's building many of the homes that we need to solve our ongoing housing crisis. This being a couple days after May Day, we felt it was important to have union representation here. So today we have Bill Gillard from the Keene Education Association.
Thank you, everyone. I'm the president of the Keene Education Association, which represents teachers, guidance counselors, mental health providers, nurses in the Keene School District. But what I really want to talk today about was not just the Keene Education Association, but what teachers do for education. Our group is nonpartisan. I was just speaking with George Downing, who's the chair of the Keene School Board, over on the side over here earlier, and they're nonpartisan too. But what we stand for and what we support and what teachers support every day is our students. And when our students arrive in our classrooms, we welcome them with open arms. It does not matter what their ethnicity is. We support students from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic places, students with disabilities. Any student who comes into our classroom, we teach them and we support them equally so that they can grow and excel and give back to our communities. So, why is that so important? And what are some things that are going on in the state and federal areas that are trying to diminish that? So, when I think back to my time as an educator, I've been teaching at Keene High now for 18 years. And the people that I remember are the students that I've had. And so where have these students gone? Well, many of these students have gone on to study at the premier secondary colleges and universities across the country. And many of these students have gone on to have great careers in the military. And many of these students have gone on to work in the industry and in the trades in our local community, trades all over the United States. And this is essential to the growth of our nation, both in terms of production economically, but also in terms of empathy and how we relate to each other, our neighbors, no matter what background we come from, and just caring for each other. And then it all starts in the schools. It all starts in the schools by allowing teachers to provide an education that they've been trained in. So that means an education that is scientifically sound, socially sound, that is broad and diverse, that encourages and looks at multiple perspectives from all different angles, so that the students both in Keene, New Hampshire, and all other schools in our state and our nation can go out and be contributing members of our global society with an understanding of how the world works. And these are kind of things that are under attack. So, where are these things being under attack? Well, number one is funding. We have to appropriately fund our schools. And that's under attack at the federal level, but it's also under attack at the state level. The state funding mechanism in New Hampshire, to put it frankly, does not provide equally for all schools and all communities. And so what we can do as a community is we can go out and we can talk to our local representatives, our state representatives, our federal representatives, and encourage them to enact legislation that will improve school funding so that we can support all students equally whether they live in Keene, New Hampshire, or Portsmouth, New Hampshire, or Concord, New Hampshire, no matter what their background is. The other thing that is under attack is the independence of our schools. You know, Keene has a robust history in educating its teachers. With Keene Teachers College that eventually became Keene State College, with Plymouth State University, University of New Hampshire, the Community College System of New Hampshire. All these institutions help to educate our teachers, who in turn educate our students. And if we allow those institutions to be under attack, to be diminished in the skills that they train their teachers in, it ultimately impacts our children, our students, our grandchildren, and will ultimately impact our communities in a negative way. And so we, at you know, the core, we need to protect that as much as we can. You know, the teachers that I work with, the guidance counselors that I work with, the mental health service providers, the administrators that I work with, and the board members are all trained to educate the students through an incredibly in-depth certification process. And we can't allow that to go away, because that is what upholds our institutions. I mean, when we think about it, when the funding has lacked over the years, when our schools have not had as much money, when COVID-19 came in and there was a pandemic that threatened our schools, the people that upheld the institutions and made sure that education was happening every day were the teachers. They were the people in the schools that cared for the students and made sure that the students got what they needed to go out in our community and be productive members of society. And so these institutions, these educational institutions, we have to protect at all costs. So I encourage you all to support teachers. Keene, I want to applaud Keene as a community. They have always been supportive of education and our public schools, and we need to continue that. And we need to continue to lobby our state, local, and federal legislatures to pass laws and pass funding bills that support our schools, because ultimately this is what is going to hold us up as a nation and as a community, locally and across the country, is our schools and our students. They are our future, and the teachers are the ones that help them. So thank you so much for coming out today and supporting this effort and supporting our schools and our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. We love and appreciate our educators. I love educators so much that I married one. There's a lot of state representatives in the audience today, and I think that's wonderful. And if you find one, be sure to buttonhole them and tell them what you think is important to our state. Our next speaker is one of them. It's Nick Germana. Come on up.
Thank you, Bobby. So this semester at Keene State, I'm teaching a class that takes a look at how it was that the Nazis, who only got 44% of the vote in the last free election in Germany, how they quickly consolidated power in Germany. And one of the reasons, of course, we all know, has to do with the lies, with the manipulation, with the propaganda. We're seeing all of that unfolding here now in our country. But the other side of the equation that we have to keep in mind is that so many Germans went to the polls in 1932 and 33 and voted for the Nazis because they had become so disenchanted with the systems of the Weimar Republic, the supposedly democratic systems of their republic, that they were willing to vote for a party that would break the system because they believed so strongly that that system was not working for them. And we have to recognize that that's also part of the problem we're facing right now. So many voters went to the polls or didn't go to the polls to elect Donald Trump because they believe that our system is not only not working for them, but too often is actually working to screw them. And they're right. And we need to remember that when we do throw the bums out, that we have an obligation to address the real concerns of Americans all across the country. We have seniors in America who are in crippling debt because of health care costs. We've got young people in America who are in crippling debt because of college loan costs. And they're not going to be able to afford housing because we don't have the housing stock and it's too expensive, and we are putting their generation at stake. And that explains a lot of the apathy among our young people. These are issues that we have to address. So what we need to do between now and 2026 is show up here every weekend to protest against the dismantling of our system. We need to turn out at the ballot box in 2026, quite frankly, to elect Democrats into the majority in Concord and into the majority in Washington. We need to show up in 2028 and do the same thing every weekend from now to 2028. But it doesn't stop there. After we elect Democrats into a majority in both Concord and Washington, we need to keep coming out every weekend and demand real action on those issues that mean the most to Americans who are not being represented by a system which is dominated by an oligarchy, which is dominated and controlled by big money. One of the things that you see among voters who voted for Donald Trump, who are not yet willing to abandon that vote, is that they may not like a lot of the things that he's doing, but they will consistently say they like the fact that he's doing something. And I think the lesson that we have to learn from that is that we need bold action. We need to put forward a platform that puts American seniors and workers and children first. We need real reform of our tax system. We need real reform of our educational system. We need real reform of our healthcare system. And we need to not be afraid to put forward courageous, bold ideas to get that done. So thank you all for coming out here this weekend. I've seen so many faces at every rally we've had here. Keep coming out through 2026 and 2028 and come out here and hold my party accountable after 2028 for getting the job done for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick Germana. We need bold ideas, absolutely. We have an extra special treat today. We've got a bonus speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, the stalwart of the New Hampshire House Democrats, Lucy Weber.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here today. The first thing I need to say is that you all hold us up, because there's an awful lot of stuff that happens in the New Hampshire House that isn't fun. And the fact that all of you are here and keep coming and all those horns are honking keeps us going. So, what I wanted to say is just everything is related. You know, people say, well, what do I put on my sign? There's so many things. Everything is related. I sit on the Health and Human Services Committee where anti-science is reigning supreme, but we're trying to hold the line, and some of the things we're doing kind of quietly without talking about them too loud are actually helping. But if you're interested in a healthy population, you need people to work in healthcare. And that means you need education to train people to work in healthcare. And you need good teachers to teach people to prepare for the jobs in healthcare and everywhere else. And it means that to have teachers and workers, you need childcare that is accessible and affordable and safe for your kids. And you need housing that is affordable and where you need it. and you need to be able to have a safe place to live. And you need to have an environment that is healthy and welcoming so that we don't have environmental health issues. And up until recently, I always used to say, kind of as an addition at the end, and you know, this is something I can't do anything about in the New Hampshire State House, but dear God, we need a sane immigration policy because we need more people to work, and the influx of people makes all of us stronger and more of a community, as we were told. I'm just going to say, in terms of everything being related to everything else, my first grown-up job was teaching second grade in the Lebanon, New Hampshire School District, and I was the proud head of the Lebanon Education Association when I was in my late-ish 20s, when I knew absolutely nothing, but nobody else wanted to do it, so I learned. And that is a proud learning experience that I carry with me going forward. I also wanted to elaborate on what Jodi said about Medicaid expansion. Medicaid expansion serves 58,000 of our fellow citizens. And about 84 or 85% of them are working already. And if that program goes, not only do 58,000 people lose their health coverage, which keeps their bodies healthy and helps them with mental health, addiction, recovery, harm reduction, and all of the things that we know make people's lives better. But if the Medicaid funding goes, if Medicare funding is reduced, then all of our healthcare institutions, tenuous as they are, will be at greater risk. So for those people out there who are telling you it doesn't matter for me, I've got my health insurance, let me tell you that if we start to go over that cliff, all of us are going to have a harder time finding healthcare providers, finding the services we need, and finding them in a timely manner. So a rising tide lifts all the boats. And my point is just, we need to have everybody have access. We need to preserve the civil rights of every person in this country. And we need to